So I know my station's a little bit of a mess here, but I think I finally might have cracked the code on setting your pH and getting your ppm levels together, dealing with Nectar for the Gods line. I've read a lot about it, I've seen a lot of people talk about it, but I haven't really seen anybody explain how to do it. And I've just been messing around with this stuff, and I finally, was forced into doing a slurry test in a previous video. I got my meters a while ago, but I wasn't using them. So now I am currently trying to get the parts per million down in between the 300 and the 500 range. So what I was doing is I just randomly filled up this, probably to about here with water. It was probably pH'd. It usually comes out in the perfect range, like around 6.5. And basically just added some newts in. I was adding them by quarter teaspoon, and I added some Herculean Harvest, with a single teaspoon. Kind of at random, just, randomly did what I thought I needed to do. I've got a plant that needs some nitrogen, plus it's starting the 3rd week of flower. So I thought these newts would be the right selection to get this thing off the ground. And then the thing with Bloom Chaos is I did just a quarter teaspoon of the Bloom Chaos, and then I did a teaspoon of the Herculean Harvest. That was actually a teaspoon and a quarter. So anyways, but what I'm trying to do now is get this in the proper range with the proper pH, and I'm going to feed my plant for the first time with this, hopefully calibrated correctly. So we'll see what happens. Okay, so I have just added some water, and I got the parts per million down to about 570. A little stir here, see if it goes down any more. So we'll just call it 565. So now we'll try, since we've got the parts per million in range, we're going to go ahead and try the pH meter. Okay, so we can see that this is 512, 510-ish. Give it a shake. And we're, just call it 510. So we definitely have to bring this up. So what I'm going to use to do that is I'm going to use this Olympus Up from Oregon's Only, Nectar for the Gods. So I just added what was in this quarter teaspoon, and it really didn't move anything. It went up about 10 points. So I'm going to add a whole quarter tablespoon. Well, you know what? I'm going to do a teaspoon here and see what happens. Okay, I'm just going to dump in about Okay, so I'm going to turn that meter off. So I've added another half teaspoon or quarter teaspoon. So overall I've added about a half teaspoon of Olympus Up to this mixture. And hopefully we'll get some sort of movement here. Oh, there we go. There we go. So I'll just go ahead and call that 640. So I've got about a half gallon of water here that I'm working with. And I added about a half teaspoon to get it to this range. So it was a half teaspoon of Olympus Up to about a half gallon of water when the parts per million were about 570. So that's what we'll check next. We'll check to see what the parts per million are. Now that the pH is correct, let's see how much the parts per million has shifted. Okay, so we've got our meter. And just if you're wondering, each time I've got a little solution of distilled water on the side over here that I'm rinsing the meters off with. So it looks like the parts per million actually have gone up a little bit. Huh? They're still within range. So I might add just a little bit of water. I might add like about a quarter cup or half cup of water just to bring it down before I feed. But I would say that's within range because it's still in the 500s. But I would think, no, it's not. It's out of range. Crap. Because it's supposed to be 3 to 500. Okay, so I'm going to add a cup of water and I think I should be fine. So we'll see what happens. This might be hard to tell under this light, but it almost looks like this stuff is starting to coagulate a little bit. I'm thinking it's got to be like just what it does organically. It's kind of getting a little gummy, and I wonder if that's why you can't really use this in like a hydro setup too much, because it kind of gums everything up. It's kind of hard to see though, but you can see all that stuff in the water. I finally mixed back in my water. As you can see, it went over the top here. I had like, the water was up to this line here, and now it's about just underneath this tab. So I filled it about that much, which is more than the cup of water that I wanted to do, but it should be okay. So we're gonna do a final test before we feed, just to show everybody. So go ahead and shake it up real well. And it used to be really dark, the solution, but now it's kind of lightening up and there's just all this churn in it. So I think I should probably get it into the soil as soon as possible. But first of all, we're going to we'll check the pH first. Okay, and again, like I said, I've got a solution to distilled water. I have it to the side over there that I swirl these in after. So we'll go ahead and dip that in there. And our pH is fine. It's in just about 6.5, which is right in the middle. This is good. Okay, within range, so we'll call that good.
I'm Enzo Treppa with BudCivil.com. Thanks for watching.